Welcome to our channel. In this video you will learn amazing and rare facts from different areas of life. Watch all episodes, subscribe and leave your comments. Fact 901. Sir Henry Royce, the founder and chief designer of Rolls-Royce, attended school for only 1 year. He acquired all his knowledge on his own. Fact 902. In the Middle Ages, entire dynasties of warriors who guarded the Great Wall of China did not leave their post throughout their lives. They were born, created families, died, and were buried on the wall. Fact 903. One of the most mysterious books in history, the Voynich manuscript, is in the library at Yale University. The book was written in the 15th century by an unknown author in an unknown language using an unknown alphabet. The manuscript has not yet been deciphered, presenting the most audacious challenge to all methods of modern cryptography. Fact 904. The Romans used fighting mastiffs in battle. Opponents were forced to use shields to protect their legs from the ferocious dogs, while a hail of arrows rained down on them from above. Fact 905. Glass frogs living in the jungles of Ecuador are indeed transparent. You can see the vessels, stomach, and beating heart through their bodies. Fact 906. The oldest operating bank in the world will turn 540 years old in 2012. Banca Monte dei Paschi di Siena was founded in Siena, Italy in 1472. Fact 907. In 1933, Hitler's loyal follower and friend, the German clothing designer Hugo Boss, personally designed the Waffen-SS uniform. Fact 908. Polar bears have such perfect thermal protection that most of the time they are not trying to keep warm, but to cool off. Fact 909. The Celts believed so much in the afterlife that they could lend money with the condition of repayment in the other world. Fact 910. Large panda females are only willing to reproduce once a year for 48 hours. Males, on the other hand, have disproportionately small penises, which makes intercourse possible only in a strictly defined position, a position males know poorly. As a result, big pandas are recognized as an endangered species. Fact 911. The largest cemetery in the world in terms of the number of burials is the Ohlsdorf Cemetery in Hamburg. The cemetery contains 1.4 million burials and has 2 bus routes with 25 stops. Fact 912. Thomas Edison did not invent the electric light bulb. He only developed the incandescent coil that allowed the light bulb to burn for a long time. However, he definitely invented the phonograph and the electric chair. Fact 913. In Europe, about 55% of men go bald, and in Africa, no more than 18% go bald. American Indians do not go bald at all. Fact 914. The climate in Africa has not always been this warm. In the memory of mankind, the Nile has already frozen over twice, in 829 and 1010. Fact 915. In medieval Europe, families of witches burned at the stake had to pay for firewood and brushwood. Fact 916. Due to unusually cold fog, on December 5, 1952, London was enveloped in the Great Smog, consisting of coal smoke and automobile exhaust, which did not dissipate until 5 days later. What happened was a real catastrophe, as a result of which up to 12,000 people died. This is where the modern environmental movement began. Fact 917. In the US, the ransom amount paid in a kidnapping case can be deducted from taxable income. Fact 918. Dark chocolate has more antioxidants than green tea. And pure cocoa is even healthier than chocolate. Fact 919. The total land area on Earth is 149 million square kilometers. The area of only one of the 4 oceans, the Pacific Ocean, is 180 million square kilometers. Fact 920. In July 1981, Japanese worker Kenji Urata became the first person to be killed by a robot. Fact 921. A peanut is not a nut, but a bean. The peanut bean hangs from the lower shoots of the plant to the ground, burrowing into the ground and ripening under the ground. Peanuts are so named because of the spider-like pattern on the fruit. Peanuts means spider in Greek. Fact 922. The arc of the rainbow is not really an arc, but a circle. However, it is only possible to observe the entire rainbow from an airplane. Fact 923, approximately 40% of all lightning lights up the sky without accompanying thunder, and 10% of lightning starts from the ground. Fact 924, members of the French Trotskyist Workers' Struggle Party are forbidden to marry and have children. Fact 925, the juice of most grape varieties is light. Thus white wine is made not only from white and rose grapes, but also from most red grapes. Fact 926, in ancient Rome there were special bronze coins to pay for the services of prostitutes, spintria. They depicted various erotic subjects. Fact 927, in Uganda they produce banana beer with a strength of up to 28%, and in Japan they produce beer from milk. Fact 928, the smallest mammal on Earth is the pygmy white-toothed dwarf. It is less than 3 centimeters in length and weighs less than 2 grams. Fact 929, according to Forbes magazine, the most expensive drinking water in the world is bottled in Canada. 10,000 BC water is extracted from a glacier 300 kilometers north of Vancouver and sells for $58 per liter bottle. Fact 930, the world's last typewriter factory closed in India in March 2011. Fact 931, the most common currency on Earth is the franc. Different kinds of francs are the currency of 22 countries. Only 17 countries have different kinds of dollars. Fact 932, the Inca king Atahualpa, captured by the Spanish, was paid a ransom of 6 tons of gold and 12 tons of silver. But this did not save him from a painful execution. Fact 933, in the mid-19th century, the number of Afghan Jewish community exceeded 40,000. As of 2011, there was one Jew left in Afghanistan, synagogue keeper Zebulon Simantov, born in 1920. Fact 934, the fastest flowing war in human history is the Anglo-Zanzibar War, which took place on August 27, 1896. It lasted only 45 minutes. Fact 935, the biggest cat lovers in the world are thought to be Austrians. Approximately 1/3 of households in Austria have at least one cat. Fact 936, of the 11 Apollo spacecraft, from Apollo 7 to Apollo 17, only one crashed. The launch of Apollo 13 to the moon occurred at 1:13 p.m. local time. 2 days later, on April 13, 1970, a serious accident occurred during the flight in which the crew miraculously survived. Fact 937, acorns first appear on an oak tree only when the tree reaches the age of 30 years. Fact 938, the largest fish on the planet is the whale shark. It reaches a length of 12 meters and weighs 14 tons. The smallest, the Chinleria, weighs only 2 milligrams and is 11 millimeters long. And the most prolific, the moonfish, is capable of hatching 300 million eggs in a single season. Fact 939, the swan song is nothing more than poetic hyperbole. Swans can sing no better than ducks. They make a harsh trumpeting sound, but more often only hiss and squeak. Fact 940, the law of paper folding limitation states that a piece of paper of any size cannot be folded twice more than 7 times, making each fold perpendicular to the previous one. The famous Discovery Channel's Legend Breakers were able to fold a piece of paper the size of a soccer field 11 times, but only with the help of a roller and a forklift. Fact 941, after Genghis Khan's conquest of northern China in 1214, the Chinese used Mongolian bronze helmets for cooking. This is how the wok was invented. Fact 942, only once in history has it snowed in the Sahara Desert, in southern Algeria. It happened on February 18, 1979, and the snowfall lasted only half an hour. Fact 943, the vulture carefully picks up rocks with which it breaks ostrich eggs, being one of the few bird species to use tools. Fact 944, in 1992 a monument to the creators of the Cyrillic alphabet Cyril and Methodius was erected in Moscow as part of the celebration of Slavic Writing and Culture Day. The inscription on the pedestal was made in Old Slavonic. Later linguists have found 5 spelling mistakes, including 2 mistakes in the word Russia. Fact 945, Canada has the longest coastline in the world, 202,080 kilometers. The Russian Federation has the longest coastline at 37,653 kilometers. Fact 946. The oldest public university in Idaho, USA, is located in the city of Moscow, in the northern part of the state. Fact 947. Despite the negative image, McDonald's eateries around the world are visited by more than 43 million people a day. Fact 948. We inherited the gooseflesh reflex from our monkey ancestors, who fluffed up their fur when they were cold. Even smooth skin devoid of hair has hair follicles, and the follicles contain the muscles that lift the hair. Fact 949. Gypsy is a collective term, just like Slavic, Caucasian, Scandinavian, or Hispanic. Roma includes several dozen ethnic groups. Fact 950. In the Sagittarius B2 gas dust cloud at the center of our galaxy, astronomers have detected ethyl alcohol through spectral analysis. Fact 951. The total land area on Earth is 149 million square kilometers. Fact 952. A black swift can stay in the air without stopping for over 2 years. All this time, the swift eats, drinks, and even mates without sitting on the ground. Moreover, the black swift has the highest horizontal flight speed. It reaches 180 kilometers per hour. Fact 953. A volcano is considered active if the last eruption occurred no earlier than 11,000 years ago. Fact 954. It is estimated that U.S. residents consume more than 16,000 tons of aspirin annually. Fact 955. The first passenger airplane in aviation history was the Russian Ilya Muromets, built under the leadership of I.I. Sikorsky in 1913. Fact 956. The Lærdal Tunnel in Norway, almost 25 kilometers long, is the longest vehicular tunnel in the world. Fact 957. Dogs, after sniffing the trail, understand which way the animal ran. Fact 958. The most successful life form on Earth is bacteria. There are over 1 million species of them. There are over 40,000 different species of bacteria living in 1 gram of soil, which are more distantly related than the hippo and the daisy. Science knows of bacteria that grow successfully in concentrated sulfuric acid and arsenic and can withstand pressures of 6,000 atmospheres. Fact 959. In Mongolia, burping during a meal is considered a sign of gratitude to the cook. If there is no burping, the guest's stomach is thought to be empty because he did not like the food. Fact 960. Coconuts are mistakenly called nuts. In fact, it is a stone fruit, just like a plum, peach, or apricot. Fact 961. The leaves of the raffia palm from the Mascarene Islands in the Indian Ocean are 20 meters long. Fact 962. The technology of communication between mobile devices Bluetooth is named after the Danish king Harald the Bluetoothed, who ruled in the 10th century and united the Danish tribes. According to legend, he was very fond of blueberries. Fact 963. Earth orbits the Sun at a speed of 30 kilometers per second. Fact 964. On February 5, 1985, Rome Mayor Hugo Vetter, during an official visit to Tunisia, signed the peace treaty between Rome and Carthage. Thus the Third Punic War, which formally lasted 2,131 years, was ended. Fact 965. There are over 2.8 million lakes in Russia. Canada has slightly fewer lakes, 2.1 million, but Canada is half the size of Russia. Fact 966. The stomach of a 330-pound mako shark was found to contain a 55-pound tuna swallowed whole. Fact 967. In 2010, a 17-year-old criminal was convicted in California of armed robbery. He used his handheld boa constrictor as a weapon. Fact 968. 2 molar teeth were broken by an Australian, Elon Bailey, in Sydney, USA, while eating a Big Mac at a McDonald's restaurant. He sued the restaurant and was twice lucky. The court awarded him $10,000 in damages, and he met his future wife at the dentist. Fact 969. The eminent mathematician Henri Poincaré failed a written mathematics paper on his baccalaureate exam. Fact 970. 90% of people in China and Japan have an intolerance to dairy lactose. In Europe, no more than 5% of the population is dairy intolerant, but in Sicily, 70% are. Fact 971, the wife of King Richard I the Lionheart, Berengaria of Navarre, as Queen of England, never set foot on English soil. Fact 972, the coastal plant with plush candles that we usually call a reed is not a reed at all, but a cattail. But bulrush is an aquatic plant with panicles at the ends of its long stems. In the old days, dried rhizomes of reeds were used to make flour. Fact 973, in the Czech Republic, the annual per capita consumption of beer is 157 liters. This is a world record and more than Russia and the United States combined. Fact 974, the scientific name for the giraffe is Giraffa camelopardalis, which literally means camel-leopard giraffe. Like all mammals, the giraffe has 7 cervical vertebrae. Fact 975, the famous submariner Alexander Marinescu, who sank 2 of the largest ships of the German Navy, the Wilhelm Gustloff and the Steuben, was posthumously awarded the title of Hero of the Soviet Union only in 1990. Fact 976, the sound of snoring can reach 70 decibels, comparable to the sound of a jackhammer. Fact 978, in 1937 a monument to Alexander Pushkin was erected in Shanghai. To this day it is the only monument in China to a foreign literary figure. Fact 979, horses and camels appeared about 55 million years ago in the Americas. Fact 980, the first country in the world to adopt Christianity as a state religion was Armenia in 301. The last country to embrace Christianity was Lithuania in 1386. Fact 981, the female name Svetlana was invented by the Russian philologist and poet Alexander Vostokov, and became widespread after Vasily Andreevich Sukovsky's ballad of the same name was published in 1813. Fact 982, in the times of witch hunts, if a cat or a dog disappeared from a house, the owner could be accused of witchcraft. Fact 983, in Bavaria, beer is legally not only an alcoholic beverage but also a food product, on a par with bread and cheese. Fact 984, twice as many bank robberies occur on Friday as on any other day of the week. Fact 985, diamond is not only the hardest substance on Earth, but also holds the record for heat conductivity, surpassing silver by a factor of 5. Fact 986, after eating the berries of the holly, the robins get drunk and fall off the wires. Fact 987, in 1962 in Japan, the title of the James Bond movie Dr. No was translated as We Don't Want the Doctor. Fact 988, the can opener was invented in 1858, almost half a century after the can opener was invented. Fact 989, of all liquids in nature, the surface tension of water is second only to mercury. Fact 990, Australia is shifting faster than any other continent. It's moving north at a rate of over 6 meters per century. Fact 991, it is widely believed that giraffes are voiceless, but in fact, they communicate with each other at frequencies below 20 Hz, inaudible to the human ear. Fact 992, the first country in the world to grant equal voting rights to women was New Zealand in 1893, while women in Switzerland did not gain the right to vote and be elected until 1971 and the Duchy of Liechtenstein in 1984. Fact 993, the Chiswick pigeon is not at all a harmless bird, which is known not to drink vodka, but a student of the Imperial Law School, opened in St. Petersburg in June 1835 on the Fontanka River, in Building No. 6. The future lawyers wore yellow and green uniforms, for which they earned this ridiculous nickname. One of the Siskins was Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Fact 994, at birth a person has over 300 bones, but by the age of 25 there are only 206. And there are no kneecaps at birth, they do not appear until the age of 2 to 3 years. Fact 995, a person can live without food for up to 6 weeks and without sleep for no more than 10 days. Fact 996, Roberto Bellarmino, Cardinal and Grand Inquisitor of the Catholic Church, chief prosecutor at Giordano Bruno's trial and leader of Galileo's first trial in 1613, was canonized in 1930 and declared a teacher of the Church in Catholicism. Fact 997, the wine drink known as Mariani wine was extremely popular in Europe in the 19th century. Mariani wine was called a favorite wine by such celebrities as Alexander Dumas, Conan Doyle, Robert Stevenson, Jules Verne, and even Queen Victoria. This wine contained cocaine and was banned in 1915. Fact 998. The most expensive metal in the world is californium. It's worth over $6.5 million a gram. Fact 999. In Genesis chapter 1, God says, "Behold, I have given you every herb that sows seed. And every tree that has the fruit of a tree that sows seed you will eat this." So Adam and Eve were vegetarians. Fact 1000. Angela Merkel, named the most powerful woman in the world by Forbes magazine in 2011, speaks fluent Russian.